Things got downright frosty in Alaska during the first high-level talks between the US and China since President Joe Biden took office.
The first day of talks quickly descended into bickering, each side sharply criticizing the other over human rights, trade and international alliances.
We'll also discuss our deep concerns with actions by China, including in Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks on the United States, economic coercion toward our allies. Each of these actions threaten the rules-based order that maintains global stability.
Well, you can't blame this problem on somebody else.
I have to tell you, what I'm hearing is very different from what you described. I'm hearing deep satisfaction that the United States is back, that we're re-engaged with our allies and partners. I'm also hearing deep concern about some of the actions your government is taking.
我们把你们想得太好了，我们认为你们会遵守基本的外交礼节。
Well, I think we thought too well of the United States. We thought that the U.S. side will follow the necessary diplomatic protocols.
所以我们刚才必须阐明我们的立场。
So for China, it was necessary that we make our position clear.
我现在讲一句，你们没有资格在中国的面前说你们从实力的地位出发同中国谈话。
So let me say here that in front of the Chinese side, the United States does not have the qualification to say that it wants to speak to China from a position of strength.
China correspondent Denson Cheong joins us from Beijing to take this discussion further. Denson, what was China hoping to achieve from the meeting, and can these targets still be met given yesterday's public acrimony?
I think Beijing had high hopes. When Biden was going to take office, I think there was some expectation that there could be a reset in relations. And I think when news of the Anchorage meeting first broke, there was some indication, or at least Beijing has been sending some indication that it desired, some kind of reset to set a kind of floor, so relations will not be able to deteriorate further. And of course, I think another thing that Beijing was keen on trying to get some progress on was whether to get some of the sanctions or the tariffs that were put in place by the Trump administration lifted. But of course, from what we saw this morning, it's been quite chilly in Anchorage in terms of the atmosphere. The Chinese side saying that there was no way for the American to treat guests. So I don't think that substantial that will come out now. I think going into the discussions, there were widely sort of varying expectations from the meeting. The Chinese sort of framed it as a high-level kind of strategic dialogue, which has the implications that this was just the start of a series of engagements, whereas the Americans sort of looked at it as like a one-off kind of deal.
Mr. Biden has been in office for just under 2 months, so still early days. But how would you describe current China-US relations compared with the ties China had with the Trump administration?
I think if you look at US-China ties now and compare them to what it's been during the Trump administration, I don't think sort of anything materially has changed. If you look at Trump's some of the sanctions and the policies that Trump has put in place, basically nothing has been reversed. And I think if you look at some of the comments that Biden's officials have made, they've pressed China on issues like Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and I think materially they've sort of presented a far more firm, aggressive stance than I think some in Beijing would have hoped to see. So, right now, I think the Biden administration is still in the process of sort of reviewing some of these policies that Trump has put in place. And I think it remains to be seen whether or not things will substantially change. But my guess is that the likelihood of things dramatically changing is very low.
Well, thanks for the input, Denson. We've been speaking with Denson Cheong, China correspondent for the Straits Times.